podcast. I'm your host, John Light, founder, president, CEO, and sometimes chief scientist and sometimes chief bottle washer at Sabretooth Recruiting. And I'm really fortunate today. A couple of years ago, I made a fantastic contact. Actually, I think it goes back further than that because it was a search for a board member years ago. I made a great contact, a gentleman named Dr. Mark Lenox. Mark, thanks so much for joining me today.
It's a pleasure, John. Always happy to talk to you. Good times.
Well, I always find it challenging to talk with you because when people ask me, and I've described you before, I tell them it's probably one of two or three people I've known in my life that I could legitimately ascribe the term polymath to. And if we went through this and asked, hey, what's one factoid? In fact, that'd be a great question when we get started here in just a minute. What's one fact people wouldn't know about you? We wouldn't see your name and your background and think, wait, he's this too, or he accomplished that as well. That might be great to throw out, but Mark, why don't you get us rolling with maybe a 90-second introduction to your background and what you have your hands on today.
Okay, yeah, sure. So thanks for having me on, John. Appreciate it very much. So I am, at my core, I'm an engineer, several different kinds, and I can impersonate a nuclear physicist if I really have to, but I'm definitely a tech guy. And a deep tech guy. I've got 10 patents to my name and done a lot of research, thousands of citations. So I can play that role pretty well. But I'm also a practical guy. I've operated a number of companies at a variety of levels, mostly in medical technology. And I was part of the group that really built the first PET scanners and brought that to fruition. I've done some other work in advanced ultrasound and MRI and artificial intelligence. My oldest patent in artificial intelligence and machine learning is actually about to expire. So
wow.
I've been in this game in that particular game for a very long time. Uh-huh. But when you combine kind of the technical expertise with the operational experience, what I do mostly these days is work with private equity on a variety of things. Most of the time doing deep dives into technology and helping them understand technology and how it can be applied, especially in AI these days. And I try to help them reduce risk in those areas before they make a
terminal error
investment
in
in something.
Yeah.
You don't want to throw a bunch of money after something that's not going to do any good. So that's kind of the role that I fit in. But also in those companies, they're those kinds of environments. They're also looking for people to help, and so I try to help them do that too. And that's really where I'm at these days. So kind of a capital expert in medical technology and artificial intelligence.
Man, and I tell you what, those are spaces that are converging rapidly, right? I mean,
incredibly.
The ability to use aspects of AI, not necessarily generative AI, but machine learning and deep learning specifically to understand radiological results better, or test results, or nuances in blood work or pathologies is fascinating. I mean, and impactful. I think a lot of folks, we think about AI, we think about something to order pizza for us, which that doesn't really carry a lot of impact. But when you start talking about, hey, let's make sure that this cancer is dealt with, or identifying this disease or whatever it might be, making life better so that you can eat more pizza, whether AI orders it or not, is pretty impactful. So
that's right.
Let me ask you this. With your background, what do you think is the biggest problem that you can sink your teeth into and solve? And I ask that question from the perspective of there's so much technology out there that needs not just validation, but needs the right people to help advance it. And of course, that's a combination not just of talented people, but we're also talking about capital. We're talking about connections, and we're talking about vision, and so many other things. I mean, where can you have, as a problem solver, the biggest impact?
Well, coming kind of from my background, as one of the people that really helped make PET or clinical reality, and the same with QT ultrasound too. That's the new replacement for mammograms. That's a pretty big deal, and that kind of hits home for like my wife and my daughter, right? I want to see the best possible healthcare for them, and breast cancer is a huge issue, and so I am very glad to have been able to work in those areas. But really and truly, as an engineer, I can have a lot of impact in anything I touch in medical imaging, especially because that's where my real background is from. But in my opinion, you can have the greatest of ideas, and you can, really solve cancer. Let's cure cancer. That's all great. That's a great idea. But until you get it to a commercial operation, you just don't have anything. And because in order to get it to real people and apply it to real people that are walking off the street that have that problem, until, when it's sitting in a lab, that's all great. But my contribution is really to be able to take it from that idea phase and get it past the FDA, get it past CE, get it past whoever needs to be done from a regulatory perspective and a business perspective, and get it into the market and make it both profitable and impactful. So that's where I really live, where I like to be, is in the middle of that action. Is either an operator, a board member, an investor, or a developer, an engineer. I still file patents every now and again. My patent attorney likes me quite a bit.
I'll bet they do. So let me ask this. When you look at this convergence technology, AI and healthcare, I guess we could loosely call it healthcare tech. I mean, we're not necessarily talking about knee replacements, but the actual application of AI or ML, if you will, as the ability to move a lot of numbers and understand trends and results and nuance and things of this nature. How do you see that space today, and where do you see it going over the next 2 or 3 years?
Well, I think if you look at everything in terms of public health, AI is really important, because people's relationship with their family physician is really quite limited. But there's so many factors out there that can influence all of this. Everything associated with your health, how you eat, how you exercise, and we see that in these phone and watch type apps. How many steps a day are you doing? All of these things. What are your risk factors for certain things? All of that. AI has the ability to kind of take all of that truth, all of that true knowledge, and help you make better health decisions. And getting proper, guidance early on. Prevention is always cheaper and always better than a cure. If I cannot get sick, I would rather just not get sick. If I do get sick, I want the best possible treatment and I want the best possible cures. Right. But I would really just rather not get sick. And that's where I think AI is going to have a pretty big impact. There are a lot of companies out there that are doing a variety of things, and I see them. I see them all the time, because some investor somewhere is saying, "Hey, this sounds really good. Tell me, take a dive in this and tell me what it is." I love that aspect of the whole thing, and so from my perspective, I think people taking charge of their own health is one thing, but taking charge of your own health with an advisor alongside of you who really knows you, because the AI it's going to really know you. If it knows what you're eating, if it knows how you're exercising, if it knows where you live and what your sleep cycles look like, and all of those things, it's going to have some insight, and I think that's going to be a huge area.
Yeah, no. And throw alongside that, though, all the ethical considerations of having that much information on any given individual.
Yeah, you guaranteed somebody's going to want to hack it, and computer security is a big deal, and I think that we're going to have to learn how to be better at that. It's a double-edged sword. it's a sharp knife, I guess, is probably the best.
It's
the best
it,
thing.
it is a very sharp sword, and it will skewer some people. And
It will.
I think there's going to be, like anything that you learn and you evolve into, there's going to be mistakes made, and there's going to be failures, but there's going to be successes as well. And you know what? Some of those successes will be very difficult. Some will be even, you could say, they're colored or tainted by this issue, securing your information. But others will be resounding successes. You know, what if our average lifespan goes up 2, 3, 4, 5 years more? But it's not just the number of years, but you can live them in a very
Quality of them.
high quality way. I'm not going to say quality of life in that life isn't worth living if you're bedridden and you have grandkids or great grandkids, for example, who want to spend time with you. I mean, there's a lot of value in that. But I think you're of the nature, and I'm of the nature, where I want to go out and do things. I want to ride horses. I want to go fishing. I want to go see, the sunrise over the ocean or the sunset over the ocean, I guess, depending on where you're at. And I want to go ski. I want to have, the cold air whipping by me. I would say whipping through my hair, but obviously we know that's an issue.
That would be a stretch.
So let me ask you this, because I alluded to it earlier. What's a factoid about not just Dr. Mark Lenox, but about Mark Lenox that people probably don't know, wouldn't clue in to associate with you?
Well, I'm pretty upfront about my association with aviation. Been a pilot. I'm a airline transport pilot, rated captain on jets, and I do enjoy that. But I'm a really practical guy.
Okay.
And I'm a skilled welder. And I'm also a certified aircraft mechanic. So, I'm an engineer. I just geek out on things, and I have the resources to go do that. And I've got a workshop that you probably wouldn't believe was possible.
Well, I believe if you've been noodling and playing with it and developing those skills over years, knowing a little bit about you, I would suspect it's pretty stinking impressive. So,
Oh yeah.
So basically, we could not only solve, health tech, AI challenges and issues and conundrums, but if I have to land an airplane anywhere near where you're at in Idaho, I've got somebody who can tell me how to fix it if there's an issue.
Oh yeah, no question about
That's
it.
good. I'm not landing an airplane anywhere anytime soon. If I'm landing it, everybody's in big trouble. Mark, and this is a real serious question too, and before we wrap up, but I think your opinion on this would be very valuable to a lot of people. What is the state of talent relative to the challenges facing us with AI and healthcare and its merging, its convergence, if you will? Because I know one of the issues I run into, companies, well, we need AI this and AI that, and this person do this and that, and they really don't understand how to lever or where to find the talent or what good looks like. And so I'm curious about what's your opinion on the state of that today and where it needs to go?
Well, that whole challenge is super broad. There are as many ways to tackle an AI problem as there are people. Actually, there's probably more. We joke about physicists, right? We say, if you ask a physics question and you got 5 physicists in the room, you're probably going to get 6, if not 7 answers. and the same is true because AI is really all about mathematics, right? The basis of AI is computational statistics and decision making and how to kind of try to make the best decisions. That's what it's really all about. But there's lots of very viable ways to solve almost any problem. And so it's the particular skills needed to solve a particular problem in a particular way is one thing. And I think companies tend to get hung up on that. But having people with broader technical skills that can look at something and say, yeah, we can kind of tackle it this way, we can kind of tackle it that way, they can operate in the gray. That's the key, is having people with enough experience to figure that out. Now, of course, this is a new industry. there aren't
Right.
that many of us like me that have been, had 20 plus years of time looking at machine learning types of algorithms. So the new kids that are coming up, though, they're pretty sharp, and universities are getting on it pretty quickly and getting them some of those skills. So younger people have some good options there, and they're going to be able to make some impact. But you've got to be able to bring together those kind of, call them mechanistic skills with understanding of the domain. And that's where it all kind of really, where the rubber really hits the road. So you've got to have people that are not just experts at machine learning, but you have to have people that are experts in machine learning and diagnostics and
Or chemistry,
practice of medicine.
Yeah.
Any of those things. And when you see it from that perspective, anything where you're making decisions, things to help people make decisions better is where it really happens. But that requires domain knowledge and some other technical skill. So, and those things take time.
Well, no, that's a great answer, and I appreciate you sharing it. One last question, Mark. If somebody wants to get in touch with you, maybe to present you with a conundrum that needs a solution or some thought, what's the best way for folks to find you?
Our website, LenoxEngineering.com, is always there. Send me a message. There's contact information there to get to me. And we love working on kind of those thorny problems. We like going after things that have real impact and that have real people behind them. That's our favorite thing to work on. So
that's awesome. And if anyone listening is connected with me on LinkedIn, I'm also connected with Mark. So feel free to find him on LinkedIn as well. Or just go to Lenox Engineering, Lenox Engineering.com. Mark, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you very much, Sean. Happy to be here.